They say Think and Grow Rich changed millions of lives. But what if I told you there was a chapter missing? A page that was never printed? A law so powerful, so dangerous to mediocrity, that it was hidden from public eyes, buried in silence, whispered only among those who mastered destiny itself. Hill called it too advanced for the average mind. But tonight, that chapter finds you. This isn't motivation. This is initiation into the realm where thought commands reality. And once you enter, you never return the same. Every generation inherits the same shelves of books on success. They speak in familiar rhythms: discipline, persistence, faith, imagination. They quote one another, repeat the same parables, polish the same truths until they shine like coins passed through too many hands. And yet, between the printed lines lies something untouched, the unwritten law, the pulse beneath the ink. It is not in the words, it is in the space between them. Few ever feel it, because most readers chase formulas instead of frequencies. They turn pages with their fingers, but never with their spirit. They look for diagrams when destiny hides in silence. There comes a moment in every seeker's life when he realizes he has been running in circles, reading, repeating, forcing, hustling, but the gate of fortune stays closed. Then, quietly, he pauses. He begins to sense that success has less to do with motion and more to do with vibration. He begins to sense that results do not answer effort, they answer alignment. This realization is the threshold of the forgotten page. It is the moment when a man stops chasing and begins commanding, when he shifts from a student memorizing truth to a creator embodying it. He ceases to recite and begins to resonate. He no longer begs life to give, he instructs life to move. Napoleon Hill hinted at this in a single sentence most readers glide past. The secret appears only to those who are ready to receive it. What does readiness mean? It is not intellectual comprehension, it is emotional maturity. To be ready is to have burned away doubt through disciplined faith. It is to have mastered the noise of impatience until the heart beats in the rhythm of certainty. Those who are not ready keep searching for proof. Those who are ready become proof. The lost chapter is invisible to the unready because it cannot be learned, only awakened. It hides not in paper but in presence. The unwritten law says, everything you seek is already seeking expression through you. When you act as if you must create it, you block its flow. When you allow it to move through you, it manifests. Every goal is first a vibration, not a plan. Plans are blueprints for the mind. Vibration is permission from the soul. Energy does not respond to effort, it responds to certainty. When a person holds unshakable conviction, the universe bends to that inner decree. It is not arrogance, it is obedience to a higher order that rewards inner alignment over outer struggle. The masters of destiny throughout history shared this secret in symbols. They spoke of faith that moves mountains, of vision that materializes, of word made flesh. Behind every miracle, there was no magic, only disciplined thought. The wise did not shout their intentions to the world. They whispered them to the infinite in silence. They moved through life as if the future had already signed its contract with them. Their stillness was not passivity, but power contained. They understood that the loudest command is often silence uttered with authority. To the outside observer, their calm looked like luck. To the initiated, it was mastery. Picture a man standing before his reflection late at night. His hands rest on the table, his eyes steady. He has read every book, attended every seminar, chased every secret, and yet something remains missing. In that still hour, he finally hears it, a quiet knowing rising from the depths. Stop searching, start declaring. He feels his chest expand with a certainty that needs no proof. That moment marks his initiation. It is the first sentence of the forgotten page being written inside him. He does not speak to the world, he speaks to the substance behind it, and it listens. The lost chapter was never printed because truth cannot be captured by ink. It is experienced in states of consciousness too fluid for language. Those who found it discovered how thought speaks to the universe in tones deeper than words. They felt that the mind is not merely a receiver but a transmitter. Every conviction sends a signal. Every emotion colors it. They learned that when thought and feeling agree, creation obeys without delay. Doubt is static on the line. Faith is clarity. And the universe, like an obedient servant, follows the clearest command. To live this law is to stop negotiating with reality. The average mind bargains, if this happens, I'll believe. The disciplined mind believes first, and reality follows. The forgotten page teaches that belief is the blueprint of circumstance. When belief is absolute, time compresses. What would take years arrives in weeks, sometimes hours. This is why those who possess quiet conviction seem blessed by coincidence. Opportunity just happens to find them. But coincidence is only the universe honoring precision. The beginner prays for strength, the adept commands it. The beginner hopes to succeed, the adept decides to. The beginner waits for a sign, the adept becomes one. There is a sacred arrogance in certainty, not ego, but divine confidence. It is the awareness that you and the creative intelligence are co-authors of reality, not separate beings negotiating outcomes. When you recognize this partnership, hesitation dissolves. You no longer ask if something will work, you decide when it will be realized. Your tone, posture, and energy shift from request to decree. The world quietly adjusts to the vibration you maintain. If you live in expectation of delay, delay multiplies. If you live in the energy of completion, events rush to match your inner picture. This is the unwritten sentence behind every visible success. Results are reflections, not rewards. You do not earn them. You emit them. They appear when you align your frequency with their existence. It is law, not luck. The forgotten page also teaches the discipline of emotional neutrality. When circumstances shake you, you lose command. When you hold stillness amid chaos, the storm serves you. This composure is not repression, but mastery, the ability to remain the author while the story twists. The masses react to what they see. The master responds to what he knows. He knows that unseen forces are still obeying his earlier command, even when appearances contradict it. He stays firm in vibration, and the visible world eventually aligns. That is faith in motion. Think of the Sunday. It does not argue with clouds. It simply waits for them to pass, knowing its light remains unchanged. So too must you hold your vision when doubt gathers. The clouds of uncertainty are temporary. Your conviction is the Sunday. When you understand this, you stop measuring progress by sight and start measuring by certainty. The lost chapter begins to rewrite your life line by line through states of mind rather than strokes of pen. In this practice, speech becomes sacred. You begin to weigh every word, for you know that spoken thought is creative instruction. Each declaration shapes energy. To say, I am struggling, is to command struggle to persist. To say, I am guided and supported, is to issue a divine order for harmony. Words are not sounds, they are seeds, and the soil that grows them is belief. Plant wisely, and the harvest cannot fail. The masters who understood this walked the earth lightly. They were not hurried, because they had no doubt of outcome. They spoke softly, because creation hears whispers. They were generous, because they knew giving activates return. And above all, they were certain, not arrogant, not desperate, simply sure. Certainty is magnetic. It draws what belongs to it. When you embody certainty, you no longer chase opportunity. Opportunity recognizes you. This is the real secret, Hill, protected behind metaphors. He could not print it outright. It had to be discovered by those capable of responsibility. For to hand creative power to an undisciplined mind would invite chaos. Only those who have purified intention through service and integrity can wield command without corruption. That purification is the true test. Once the ego dissolves, creation flows through you effortlessly, and success follows as shadow follows form. To reach this level, begin with awareness. Observe your thoughts as builders. Each one carries material for your future. Ask yourself daily, would I want this thought multiplied? If not, replace it instantly. Consistency of thought produces solidity of result. Inconsistency produces fragments. The universe is exact. It returns what you continuously broadcast, not what you occasionally wish. Therefore, discipline is love for your own destiny. As you integrate this, life subtly transforms. People sense your certainty and respond differently. Situations seem to cooperate. Your presence becomes calm but commanding. You walk into rooms and the atmosphere changes, though you speak little. That is the vibration of mastery, the signature of someone who reads from the forgotten page. It is quiet confidence born of inner alignment. Others call it charisma or luck, but it is neither. It is conscious causation. Remember this truth. The universe does not delay, humans hesitate. When you remove hesitation, results accelerate. To remove hesitation, remove doubt. To remove doubt, dwell daily in gratitude, for gratitude affirms possession. Every thank you spoken before evidence is a hammer forging destiny. Gratitude is proof of faith. Faith is proof of readiness. And readiness reveals the lost chapter. Now, pause and feel the stillness behind these words. That stillness is the same space from which all creation emerges. It is listening to you even now. What will you instruct it to build? Decide, and do not look back. Move as though the signature of success is already written beside your name in the invisible ledger of life, because once you decide with full conviction, it is. The forgotten page begins where thought stops pleading and starts commanding. When you reach that point, you are no longer reading history, you are writing it. The same power that guided the giants of progress now moves through your hands, waiting for direction. It has no language but belief, no instrument but imagination, no limit but doubt. When you discipline the mind to certainty, you become the hand of God in motion. And so, the first lesson closes. Stop searching for the secret outside. You are holding it now, not in paper, but in presence. The lost chapter was never lost. It was waiting for the moment you were ready to read it within yourself. There is a moment in every seeker's life when the external chase begins to exhaust him. He realizes that the harder he pushes, the heavier the world becomes. He studies, works, hustles, performs every trick taught by those who claim to know the formula, yet the results come in flickers, never in flow. In that exhaustion, something holy stirs. A quiet voice that says, "There is a deeper law beneath all other laws." The hidden law. The ordinary man believes success is a transaction between sweat and reward. The extraordinary mind knows it is a covenant between energy and alignment. What you call coincidence is this law revealing its hand. What you call failure is it redirecting you toward coherence. The hidden law is not written in any book because it is written in vibration. It governs the rhythm between thought and manifestation, between inner command and outer reflection. And like gravity, it operates whether you acknowledge it or not. When Hill spoke of the subconscious mind as the connecting link, he was describing this invisible bridge. He knew the outer world is merely the photograph. The inner world is the camera. Adjust the focus inside, and reality reshapes itself in silence. The hidden law states the universe arranges itself according to the frequency of your dominant feeling. Not your fleeting hope, not your spoken wish, but the emotion you habitually inhabit. That is your broadcast, your order to creation. Every desire has two sides, the wanting and the knowing. The masses live on the side of wanting, always speaking from lack. I hope this happens. I wish I could. Maybe one day. Each phrase carries the vibration of absence. The hidden law cannot deliver fulfillment to those who broadcast emptiness. To cross the bridge, you must stand in knowing, declare with calm conviction that the outcome is already alive within you. Faith is not believing something will happen. It is accepting that it already has, in a realm unseen. When your inner and outer worlds contradict, the law does not choose sides. It obeys the stronger signal. If fear outweighs faith, fear is fulfilled. If certainty outweighs doubt, certainty materializes. The universe has no morality, it has precision. It mirrors your emotional majority. That is why discipline of thought is the highest art of living. A man who governs his feeling governs his fate. Look around and notice. Two people may labor side by side, yet one struggles while the other ascends. Same hours, same tools, different vibration. One works from anxiety, the other from quiet command. The results reveal which frequency ruled. Action is only the surface. Vibration is the seed. The hidden law always honors the seed. To live by this understanding, you must reverse the hierarchy that the world taught you. The world told you to do in order to be. The law demands that you be, and then you will do with ease. Being precedes doing. Consciousness precedes creation. A seed does not strain to sprout. It unfolds because its pattern is complete. Likewise, when your inner image is finished, outer action becomes effortless. You will still move, still labor, still plan, but the labor will feel light, guided by momentum rather than resistance. That lightness is proof that the law is active. Hill called this harmony cosmic habit force, the tendency of the universe to reinforce established vibration. Once you hold a feeling steadily, the cosmos begins to organize evidence around it. People, ideas, and opportunities rearrange as if choreographed. You need not chase them. You merely remain consistent. The hidden law rewards consistency, not intensity. Sporadic faith builds nothing. Steady conviction builds worlds. Consider how a compass works. It always returns north because that direction is imprinted in its essence. The same is true for the mind trained in certainty. No matter the storm, it realigns to belief. Doubt may tilt the needle, but the magnetic pull of faith restores balance. That inner calibration is mastery, the ability to feel truth, even when eyes see contradiction. The law measures the vibration, not the evidence. So what is this vibration? It is the emotional signature of your expectation. Every thought you repeat becomes wrapped in feeling. That feeling radiates, touching invisible threads that bind all things. This network, what Hill called the infinite intelligence, translates vibration into event. To command it, you do not beg, you harmonize. Harmony is prayer without words. It is gratitude before proof. It is walking as though the answer already breathes in your shadow. The novice prays in fear of loss. The wise pray as partners in creation. The novice asks, will I be provided for? The wise says, provision is already arranged. The novice says, I hope this works. The wise smiles, it is working now. That subtle shift in tone separates manifestation from delay. The law listens only to conviction. This is why stillness matters. In silence, you can hear the frequency you truly emit. The anxious mind is noisy. It distorts transmission. When you sit quietly and breathe, when you withdraw attention from chaos, your signal strengthens. In those moments of composure, you become a clear instrument for the creative current to play through. Every genius, every prophet, every inventor discovered this rhythm. Isolation first, illumination next. The hidden law hides in solitude. You may test it easily. Tomorrow, before you act, pause. Close your eyes. Imagine your task already accomplished with grace. Feel gratitude for its completion. Then move. Notice how swiftly events conspire to assist you. The email arrives sooner. The person says yes. The path clears. The world did not change. Your frequency did. The law had been waiting for clarity. Once given, it obeyed. Some will call this coincidence. Let them. They are still reading from the visible chapters of life, unaware that a deeper script directs the play. You, however, have glimpsed the hidden mechanics. You understand that imagination is rehearsal for reality, that emotion is the conductor's baton. So guard your imagination. Do not allow fear to rehearse failure. Each replayed worry is a request written in energy. Cancel it by replacing it instantly with vision. Say softly, only harmony exists in my world. Repetition etches belief. Belief commands creation. But the hidden law carries responsibility. Power without awareness breeds confusion. Once you know that thought creates, careless thinking becomes self-sabotage. This is why the masters speak little. They understand that idle words are seeds without intention. Guard your language as a sculptor guards marble. Speak only what you wish to see solidified. Each phrase is a chisel stroke on the stone of reality. The most direct way to activate this law is gratitude. Gratitude is not courtesy, it is chemistry. It lifts your vibration instantly to the frequency of receiving. Every thank you is an announcement, I have received. Even if the form has not yet appeared, the energy has arrived. When you practice this, you collapse the distance between vision and manifestation. Time, as you know it, begins to shorten. People will call it luck. You will recognize it as alignment. Let us return to Hill's wisdom. He taught that success requires a burning desire backed by faith. Desire without faith burns out. Faith without desire drifts. The fusion of both generates power. But deeper still lies this revelation. The burning is not agitation, it is clarity so strong that doubt cannot breathe in its presence. The hidden law fuels that clarity. It whispers, act from the end, not toward it. When you visualize your dream as complete, every cell receives instruction to behave accordingly. That biological coherence signals the infinite mind that you are ready. Notice how nature mirrors this principle. The acorn holds the oak completely within. No confusion, no hesitation. The pattern is encoded. The environment merely provides expression. You are the same. The idea planted in you is the acorn. The law is the soil. Your belief is the water. The conditions outside matter less than the conviction inside. If you keep feeding the seed with doubt, it starves. With faith, it expands through concrete. At first, this discipline feels strange. Years of conditioning taught you to respond to appearances. The world screams statistics, logic, proof, but proof follows faith, never precedes it. To master the law, you must live as though invisible certainty is more real than visible doubt. That inversion is the gateway. When you learn to trust what cannot yet be measured, you graduate from follower of circumstance to author of it. There will be moments when your conviction wavers. When that happens, do not condemn yourself. Simply return to alignment. Say inwardly, order is restoring itself now. The statement itself is a tuning fork. Feel its resonance settle you. The law never punishes, it mirrors. Correct the vibration and the mirror clears. Over time, this becomes natural. You wake with a quiet knowing that everything unfolds in precision. You stop rushing. You plan, but you do not panic. You work, but you do not worry. The world feels lighter because your energy no longer fights its current, it rides it. That state is mastery disguised as peace. Outwardly, you may look ordinary, but inwardly, you are orchestrating universes with calm thought. This understanding changes your relationship with obstacles. You begin to see them as recalibrations, not rejections. The door that closes is the law redirecting you to one that fits your vibration. To resist is to delay. To trust is to accelerate. Thus, every disappointment hides a correction. Every detour hides design. Whisper to yourself, the law is adjusting my path for greater harmony. Say it until it feels true, and it will be. Remember, the law is impartial. It serves saints and skeptics alike. Its allegiance is to vibration alone. This is why humility is essential. The moment ego claims ownership, resistance begins. Gratitude keeps you porous to guidance. A humble heart carries the highest voltage because it channels, it does not clutch. Let creation flow through you, not from you. The power is borrowed. Use it with reverence. Practice this daily. Upon waking, pause before thought rushes in. Feel life breathing through you. Acknowledge silently, I am one with the intelligence that governs all success. Then proceed with your day as though that statement were scientific fact, because it is. Everything you do will carry a quiet authority. Conversations will turn favorable, timing will improve, intuition will sharpen. You will know things before they occur. That knowing is evidence of resonance with the hidden law. Eventually, you will realize that the world has not changed at all. You have. The faces, the streets, the circumstances remain, yet everything obeys differently. Opportunities once invisible now stand illuminated. Problems that frightened you dissolve before arriving. You have entered the current instead of fighting the tide. And in that current, achievement is not forced. It is inevitable. The greatest mistake a man can make is to think this law belongs only to mystics. It belongs to anyone willing to master attention. Attention is the steering wheel of destiny. Wherever you direct it repeatedly becomes real. Therefore, discipline your attention as you would train a wild horse. Patient firmness, daily repetition, gentle authority. Eventually, thought obeys you without rebellion. When that happens, you no longer manifest sporadically, you manifest continuously by nature. So remember this, the hidden law is not a secret kept from you. It is a secret kept for you until you are ready. Readiness is measured by stability of faith. When your belief remains steady through storm and stillness alike, the universe hands you authorship. You cease to live by reaction and begin to live by design. The law speaks in silence, acts in precision, rewards in certainty. Align with it and you step into the invisible assembly line of creation. Every detail, every coincidence, every delay begins to reveal purpose. And one morning you awaken with a realization so profound that words fail. Nothing was random, everything was responsive. That is the hidden law, silent, exact, eternal. It does not need your struggle, it needs your steadiness. Once you offer that, life itself becomes obedient. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, Hill said. But now you know the clause unwritten beneath it. Conceive in harmony, believe in certainty, and achievement becomes the simplest law of nature. There comes a turning point when belief matures into command. It is subtle, almost invisible. A man rises one morning not with the usual noise of questions, will this work, when will it happen, but with a still certainty humming beneath his ribs. He feels no need to beg life anymore. He knows that single shift between asking and declaring is the birth of mastery. The hidden law you learn now waits for its next expression, the law of inner command. It is the moment when your word becomes creative decree. Most people live in a posture of request. Their thoughts plead, their prayers bargain, their speech confesses doubt. They believe they are humble, yet they are merely uncertain. The universe, impartial and precise, does not reward uncertainty. It reflects tone, not intention. When you whisper, please, vibration hears lack. When you speak, it is so. Vibration hears completion. Creation moves only toward completion. Hill once wrote, a definite purpose backed by burning desire knows no such word as impossible. That was not metaphor. It was instruction. Definiteness is command in disguise. When you decide completely, all forces reorganize around that decision. The question is not whether they will, it is whether you will remain definite long enough for them to finish their rearrangement. Inner command begins with language. Your words are blueprints etched into the fabric of energy. Every statement is a line of code written into the operating system of your destiny. When you say, I am exhausted, you instruct your cells to drain. When you say, I am renewed, the same cells obey renewal. The voice you use all day long inside and aloud is programming. You are the operator and the operated simultaneously. To master command is to take the keyboard from chaos and give it to consciousness. Pause now and listen to the conversation inside you. How many commands of defeat run without permission? I can't do this. It never works for me. I always mess things up. Each statement becomes a prophecy. The subconscious does not argue. It executes. It is loyal but literal. Speak limitation, and it limits. Speak mastery, and it mobilizes unseen forces. The ancients called this the word made flesh. Modern minds call it neuroplasticity, frequency, vibration. Different names for one engine. Thought impressed upon emotion becomes matter. The more emotion behind the word, the faster it manifests. That is why careless speech costs fortunes and calm conviction builds them. Command is not shouting. It is precision without tension. It is the quiet yes that makes the mountain move. When Christ said, peace, be still, he was not pleading with the storm. He was asserting authority over energy. The same faculty sleeps in every mind, awaiting awakening. Faith is its fuel, emotion, its electricity, repetition, its discipline. To cultivate this faculty, begin with small decrees. Say each morning, I command my mind to serve clarity. I command my body to express health. I command my day to unfold in divine order. Do not say these as affirmations of hope, but as confirmations of law. Then observe. You will notice small alignments first, a conversation, a coincidence, a decision that feels guided. Each is evidence that the command center has awakened. Yet command requires purity of motive. The universe resists manipulation but obeys contribution. If your decree serves only ego, friction appears. If it serves evolution, flow returns. This is why integrity and power are twins. The man who commands for self-glory corrodes. The man who commands for creation expands. To command effectively, you must also master imagination. Imagination is the workshop where orders are drafted. Whatever picture you hold with emotion becomes a template for form. The subconscious cannot distinguish real from vividly imagined. It takes the instruction literally. So close your eyes and see the life you intend as though it already breathes. Touch it with feeling. Walk in it in your mind until the nervous system accepts it as current reality. That acceptance is the signal. From that moment, the command is sent. When the order goes out, delay may appear, but delay is only calibration. The external world rearranges matter like chess pieces. Patience is the proof of faith. Impatience cancels the order midway. It tells the universe, I no longer believe. Hold your posture. Act normally, but inwardly keep the tone of certainty humming. This tonal stability is the magnet of manifestation. Remember, command is not dominance over others, it is alignment with law. The tyrant seeks control of people. The master seeks coherence with principle. When you are coherent, the world responds without force. Leadership, influence, attraction, these are byproducts of inner command, not goals. You no longer chase opportunity. You issue frequency, and opportunity identifies you. Let us descend deeper. There are 3 degrees of command. First, the spoken decree, words backed by intent. This awakens awareness. Second, the emotional decree, feeling the result as complete. This amplifies energy. Third, the silent decree, wordless, knowing that what you choose is law. This level bends reality without sound. Few reach it, yet all are designed for it. How do you approach the silent decree? Through repetition of certainty, until the mind tires of resistance. Every day you insist gently, it is done. At first the intellect argues, soon it surrenders. Then peace replaces effort. That peace is the voice of the command center stabilized. From there, manifestation accelerates, because no counter order exists. Hill's disciples often misunderstood his phrase, autosuggestion. They thought it meant repeating sentences mechanically. He meant impressing emotion on the subconscious until the idea becomes identity. When suggestion graduates to belief, belief graduates to law. That graduation happens the moment you feel truth in your bones stronger than you see evidence with your eyes. Command also requires posture, physical and mental. Straighten your spine when you speak your decrees. The body is the antenna. Breathe slowly. Rhythm controls access to power. Look upward slightly. That direction signals openness. These are not superstitions, they are mechanics. Energy obeys geometry. A bowed posture tells the body defeat. An erect posture signals dominion. Beware of contradiction. You cannot command abundance while complaining of lack. You cannot declare peace while feeding on chaos. The universe reads vibration, not vocabulary. Integrity between thought, word, and action amplifies frequency. When all 3 say the same thing, results appear swiftly. There will be days when confidence flickers. When it does, return to gratitude. It is the reset of command. Thank the unseen for obedience already in motion. Gratitude is acceptance disguised as praise. It declares, I have received. And what you acknowledge as received must materialize to complete the circuit. Many wonder, isn't command arrogance? No arrogance demands, command declares. Arrogance stems from ego. Command flows from alignment. Ego says, I did this. Alignment says, through me the law does this. One isolates, the other integrates. When you act from integration, humility and authority merge into quiet power. That power does not shout. It simply is. To anchor this state, practice inner silence. Before every major decision, close your eyes. Breathe. Ask new question. Wait until a calm certainty, not excitement, not fear, rises. That feeling is the signal from infinite intelligence. Follow it without hesitation. The more you honor it, the louder it becomes. Eventually, guidance feels like instinct. This is command evolving into communion. The command within also disciplines reaction. When insulted, stay neutral. When praised, stay neutral. Both are ripples on the surface. Your depth remains unmoved. Each time you remain composed, you reinforce authority over vibration. Soon circumstances obey your mood instead of dictating it. That reversal is liberation. You become the thermostat, not the thermometer. Understand that every environment reflects the last command you issued subconsciously. If chaos surrounds you, it means uncertainty has been broadcasting. Do not panic. Update the program. Speak clarity. Order now dominates my affairs. Repeat until peace returns. The outer rearrangement will follow inevitably. Law does not fail. Only persistence does. Let this realization settle. Command is not an event, it is a lifestyle. It must be renewed daily, just as muscles must be trained. One day of certainty builds momentum. 7 days of doubt dismantle it. Therefore, treat belief as hygiene, something you maintain, not something you achieve once. Every morning, wash your mind of fear. Every night, cleanse your heart of resentment. Clean instruments conduct power, clogged ones short circuit. In relationships, command appears as calm empathy. You do not try to change others. You hold them in vision at their highest. When you stop arguing and start imagining rightly, people rise to meet your perception. That is influence without manipulation. The greatest leaders never coerce. They radiate expectations so consistent that followers unconsciously conform to them. The same dynamic applies to wealth, health, creativity. Life imitates the vibration of your attention. Hill hinted at this in his lesser-known notes. When the mind reaches a state of faith, it becomes a broadcasting station through which thought vibration is sent to the world. Faith is command frequency. Your mind is the station. Tune it deliberately. Do not broadcast fear. The world already does enough of that. Broadcast certainty, serenity, purpose. Those frequencies carve new realities. Eventually, command becomes effortless. You no longer declare words. Your presence itself declares. Walk into a room and calm spreads. Speak and tension dissipates. This is not charisma. It is coherence. You are now the tuning fork of order, and everything near you adjusts its pitch. But with power comes stewardship. Command what uplifts. Never use thought to diminish, manipulate, or curse. Every curse rebounds, every blessing returns multiplied. Direct your authority toward expansion, your own and others. That is the covenant of creators. The more you use power to raise life, the greater your channel becomes. Test this law today. Choose one small matter, a call, a meeting, a goal. Before acting, close your eyes and decree. This outcome unfolds in perfect harmony for all involved. Then release expectation. Simply know. Watch how smoothly events align. Record it. Remember it. Repetition of evidence engraves faith. Faith engraves command. Soon you will speak rarely but effectively. Each word will carry weight because none will be wasted. People will listen differently, though they may not know why. They will feel your conviction more than hear your sound. That is the silent proof that the command within has become the ruler of your world. And when doubt whispers again, as it will, you will smile, for you now know its language and its antidote. You will answer not with argument, but with decree. I know who commands here. Silence will follow, and reality will adjust accordingly. In the end, this is the secret Hill hinted, yet never printed, that the power shaping fortunes, healing bodies, inspiring empires was never external. It sat quietly behind your own voice, waiting for direction. The moment you chose certainty, the heavens recorded your order. All creation heard it. It is still hearing it now. The mind, once disciplined to certainty, becomes the hand of God in motion. That was not poetry, it was blueprint. Speak as that hand. Move as that certainty. And the world, obedient as ever, will rewrite itself to match your command. There is a frequency beneath words, a message behind motion, a language that speaks without sound. It is the pulse of every prayer, the vibration behind every success, the unspoken dialogue between your inner state and the intelligence of the universe. Hill called it faith mixed with emotion. Modern minds call it energy, vibration, field resonance. But to the soul that knows, it is simply the silent transmission, the unseen conversation between your feeling and your future. The masses live unaware of it. They think the world responds to what they say, yet wonder why their affirmations fail. They shout goals into the air, but emit fear beneath their breath. They speak of prosperity while radiating scarcity. They repeat mantras of success while vibrating insecurity. And the universe, neutral and obedient, answers not their words but their wavelength. The silent transmission is what the universe actually hears. It is the emotional tone that underlies your speech, the real prayer hidden inside every statement. You cannot disguise it. You cannot fake it. It is what you truly feel when the mind is quiet and the body remembers your belief. The law is mercilessly precise. The frequency you maintain most often becomes the future you experience most clearly. And that frequency is not chosen by desire alone, it is sculpted by emotion. Understand this: emotion is energy in motion. Every time you think a thought and feel it deeply, you send a signal. Every time you rehearse doubt, you broadcast interruption. Every time you dwell in gratitude, you transmit magnetism. The world rearranges itself to the signal that dominates your emotional climate. The silent transmission is why two people with the same plan achieve opposite results. They speak identical affirmations, write the same goals, take similar actions, yet one moves in flow while the other fights friction. The difference is not strategy, it is frequency. One believes in secret, the other doubts in silence. Creation listens to the private tone of your being, not the public performance of your words. Hill knew this. He wrote, "Faith is the only known vibration that can convert the impulse of thought into its physical equivalent." Faith is not a belief statement. It is a frequency of certainty felt in the heart. It is invisible, but it is the loudest broadcast in existence. When faith and feeling align, reality obeys with precision. So, how does one learn this language of vibration? First, by silence. Silence reveals what you actually transmit. In noise, self-deception thrives. In quiet, truth emerges. Sit alone and listen to your internal weather. What are you radiating right now? Is it calm command or anxious expectation? The universe has been translating that frequency all along. The second step is awareness. Realize that every environment you inhabit, every pattern in your life, every repeated circumstance is feedback, a mirror reflecting your dominant transmission. If chaos surrounds you, it means your broadcast has been uncertain. If opportunities cluster around you, it means your signal has stabilized. Reality is never random, it is responsive. And third, purification. You must cleanse your emotional current. Each resentment, each unhealed fear, each complaint is static on the line. Static distorts manifestation. That is why gratitude and forgiveness are not moral duties, they are technical necessities. They clear interference between your thought and its execution. When you forgive, you remove distortion. When you thank, you strengthen connection. The cleaner the signal, the faster the response. Pause now and imagine yourself as a broadcasting tower. Every thought, every emotion, every word sends invisible ripples through the field around you. The signal you emit shapes the people you attract, the chances you meet, the timing of events. You are never waiting for luck. You are adjusting frequencies. And once the right tone is sustained, reality tunes itself to match. To live this consciously, you must master your emotional baseline. Not occasional optimism, but habitual serenity. The kind of calm that no storm can dislodge. That stillness is not weakness, it is signal strength. The universe detects clarity through calmness. When you are frantic, you send mixed messages. When you are tranquil, your signal cuts through noise like a laser. Consider how radio works. Static disappears when tuned exactly to a station. Your life is no different. When thought and feeling are tuned to the same intention, reception becomes crystal clear. That is when coincidences flood your path, when intuition grows louder, when resistance dissolves. You call it flow. The law calls it precision. But most people are static. They oscillate between faith and fear, between vision and doubt. Every back and forth creates interference. One day they send "I can," the next "I can't." 1 hour they affirm abundance, the next they panic about bills. The law has no preference. It simply matches the strongest, most repeated signal. This is why emotional discipline is the highest form of prayer. To pray is not to speak, it is to stabilize vibration. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are consistently. And what you are is determined by what you feel most often. Therefore, feeling is the steering wheel of destiny. If you can hold a feeling of peace amid chaos, you transmit mastery. If you can hold gratitude while waiting, you accelerate fulfillment. If you can feel "it is done" before evidence arrives, the universe rushes to confirm your faith. Let's look deeper. The silent transmission operates through 3 channels: thought, emotion, and embodiment. Thought designs the blueprint. Emotion energizes it. Embodiment locks it in physical rhythm. You can think success, you can feel success, but if you move like failure, the field receives confusion. So walk like it's done. Breathe as though it's complete. Act as if alignment were natural. This posture completes the transmission. People often say, I keep affirming, but nothing changes. That is because their affirmation is linguistic, not vibrational. They recite sentences from fear rather than conviction. They repeat words like, I am wealthy while feeling scarcity. I am loved while radiating loneliness. The subconscious measures the emotion, not the grammar. Until feeling and phrase align, words remain noise. The masters of creation understand this. They speak little but feel deeply. Their silence is not emptiness, it is saturated frequency. You can sense it when you stand near them. Something about their presence alters your breathing. That is transmission at work. It does not convince, it converts. You have felt it before. The teacher who calms a room without raising his voice. The friend whose presence feels safe even in crisis. The leader whose confidence spreads faster than words. They are broadcasting at a stable frequency. They do not project control, they project coherence. And coherence is contagious. When your vibration stabilizes, others unconsciously synchronize. That is why Hill called faith a state of mind that may be induced by auto-suggestion. Your own certainty becomes suggestion for every mind you meet. This silent influence is the real power behind leadership, relationships, and manifestation. It is not persuasion. It is radiation. What you radiate, you replicate. The fastest way to change your life is not to fight circumstance, but to raise frequency. When you do, old conditions dissolve for lack of match. That is why people fall away when you grow. Your new vibration no longer recognizes them. There is also danger in unconscious transmission. If you nurse resentment quietly, it becomes magnetic. If you dwell in anxiety, you call it again and again. Many suffer not from what happens, but from what they repeatedly broadcast about what happened. They re-speak pain until pain becomes pattern. The universe, patient and neutral, continues to comply. To escape that loop, stop broadcasting what you do not wish repeated. Withdraw attention, it dies from starvation. When Hill said, you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, he meant mastery of signal. You are not controlling external tides, you are controlling internal frequency. Fate is the echo of your vibration through time. Soul is the station that transmits it. To steer fate, tune soul. Start this practice. Before you speak, feel the tone of what you are about to say. Does it carry harmony or conflict? Then speak only if it strengthens harmony. Before you act, sense your energy rushed or centered. If rushed, pause. Calm magnifies power. Every pause is recalibration. Every calm moment, a new transmission. Soon you will notice people responding differently, opportunities appearing smoother, time itself feeling slower yet richer. You have not become lucky, you have become precise. The silent transmission is also how intuition operates. Your higher mind constantly receives return signals from the infinite. They appear as hunches, coincidences, sudden clarity. When you are noisy with worry, you miss them. When you are quiet with faith, you catch them instantly. These intuitive nudges are the field's replies to your last broadcast. Answer them, and guidance becomes conversation. Faith then is not blind, it is feedback aware. Each feeling, each synchronicity, each gentle pull is evidence that the communication line is alive. Treat it with reverence. Keep your heart antenna tuned by gratitude and humility. These two states create the clearest channel. Ego distorts signal. Humility purifies it. Eventually, you reach a point where words become unnecessary. You wake in the morning already resonating with certainty. You think less, no more. The desire to prove fades. The joy of alignment remains. You stop visualizing outcomes because you are living the frequency that produces them. That is the pinnacle of silent transmission, being the answer rather than asking for one. This is the secret of presence. People often chase charisma wanting to appear powerful, confident, magnetic, but charisma is simply coherent vibration sustained over time. Presence is not performance. It is purity of frequency. It emerges when every part of you says the same thing. Mind, heart, body aligned, congruent, whole. Such a person doesn't have to convince the world of anything. The world moves around them naturally. To build this presence, guard your inner atmosphere. Treat every thought as an instrument in an orchestra. One note of fear can distort the harmony if sustained. When fear arises, acknowledge it and retune. I choose faith now. Say it softly, but feel it fully. This emotional pivot realigns the entire system. With practice, the time between chaos and calm shortens until calm becomes your default tone. As this stabilization continues, something miraculous occurs, effort diminishes, results multiply. You begin to live in rhythm with cause rather than effect. Your life feels choreographed, not chaotic. Events anticipate your needs. Ideas arrive at perfect timing. You sense the invisible working before you even act. That is not fantasy. It is fidelity to vibration. The world is an echo chamber. What you emit returns amplified. But always remember, power without love corrupts signal. If your broadcast serves only yourself, it distorts. Love is the frequency that harmonizes all others. It is not sentiment, it is balance. It ensures that your creation blesses more than it benefits. When your desire uplifts others, the universe amplifies it infinitely faster. This is the ethics of energy. So begin each day with one silent transmission. Today, I radiate clarity, gratitude, and love. Hold that tone for a few breaths. Let it sink beyond words into your cells. Then move through your day. Watch how effortlessly harmony returns to you. It cannot fail, because frequency cannot lie. This is the lesson Hill left unspoken. The field listens only to what you are. No louder than a whisper, no slower than thought. Your feeling writes the future in real time. When you master that feeling, you master fate. You no longer ask life to hear you. Life becomes your echo. Faith is a state of mind that can be induced by auto-suggestion, Hill said. But the deeper truth is this. Faith is the auto-suggestion of the soul to the universe, and the universe always answers yes. Speak less, feel more, and let your silence do the talking. The further you walk this path, the more you begin to sense it. A quiet order moving beneath what the world calls chaos. Events that once seemed random start to fit together like pieces of a design too large to see all at once. The missed opportunity that broke your heart reveals itself later as protection. The delay that frustrated you becomes the doorway that timing was still building. The person who walked away makes space for the one who was meant to stay. And slowly the mind begins to whisper, there is intelligence behind this. This realization is the entrance to the hidden harmony, the law of divine coordination that arranges every fragment of life into eventual coherence. Hill called it the cosmic habit force. The ancients called it providence. Poets called it fate. Science calls it synchronicity. Different words, same rhythm. Nothing in a conscious universe is accidental. Harmony is not the absence of difficulty. It is the orchestration of it. Just as a symphony needs both soft notes and thunder, success requires both momentum and pause. The untrained ear hears noise. The disciplined ear hears pattern. Likewise, the untrained mind curses contrast. The disciplined mind listens for the hidden melody within it. When Hill wrote that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, he was revealing this harmony. He meant that life is self-correcting, that what appears destructive often contains instruction, that every challenge carries a counter gift coded into its core. The average man sees crisis, the master sees choreography. The hidden harmony works like tide and moon. When you align with it, timing becomes effortless. When you fight it, exhaustion follows. The difference lies in perception, whether you see life as conspiracy against you or composition for you. Look closely. Have you ever noticed that the greatest breakthroughs often come after the deepest stillness? That right after surrender, opportunities appear? That when you finally stop forcing outcomes, circumstances unfold by themselves? That is not coincidence. It is cooperation with rhythm. The universe breathes in expansion and contraction. So do you. Harmony begins when you match that breath. Think of the farmer. He does not scream at the soil to hurry. He plants, waters, waits. He trusts the invisible process beneath the ground. He knows the law of sequence: seed, root, sprout, bloom. To demand harvest before its season would be foolish. Yet that is what most minds do. They plant one day and doubt the next. Harmony demands patience, not passivity. Patience is the proof of understanding the rhythm of creation. To live by the hidden harmony, train yourself to replace frustration with curiosity. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this arranging for me?" That single question turns pain into pattern recognition. It shifts you from victim to participant in divine design. Every delay, every detour, every denial becomes information. Life stops being an adversary and becomes an architect. Harmony also reveals itself through contrast. You understand light only because darkness exists. Without noise, silence would have no meaning. Without resistance, muscles would not grow. The universe teaches through polarity because polarity creates movement. Opposites are not enemies, they are partners in evolution. Hill wrote of the rhythm of the universe, warning that those who fight it invite tragedy. He meant that clinging to what must go or chasing what must wait violates cosmic timing. Harmony requires trust in timing. You cannot force what is still forming. You cannot delay what is ready. Faith is the courage to let divine sequence unfold without interference. But harmony is not only cosmic, it is also internal. Your body, thoughts, and emotions each vibrate at specific tempos. When they fall out of sync, you feel tension, confusion, fatigue. When they synchronize, you feel peace even in uncertainty. That peace is the sound of inner alignment with outer order. Meditation, gratitude, deep breathing, these are not spiritual luxuries, they are tuning practices. They align your personal instrument to the grand orchestra of existence. Imagine every human as a note in that orchestra. When one plays in fear, dissonance spreads. When one returns to love, the collective sound softens. Your personal harmony contributes to universal balance. This is why self-mastery is not selfish, it is service. A peaceful mind is an environmental act. A coherent heart quietly repairs the field around it. To live harmoniously, you must develop reverence for paradox. Paradox is harmony seen from two sides at once. Losing can be winning in disguise. Stillness can be action. Surrender can be control. The ego wants clarity through certainty. The soul finds clarity through trust. When you stop labeling events as good or bad and simply call them necessary, peace returns instantly. That peace is alignment. It is agreement with rhythm. The hidden harmony also governs relationships. Every person who enters your life arrives as a mirror or a messenger. Some reflect your wounds, others reveal your wisdom. Each serves the balance of your evolution. Do not cling, do not curse. Bless the reflection and integrate the lesson. Those who depart were teachers whose chapter concluded. Those who remain are resonances still composing with you. Harmony does not need attachment. It thrives on respect for timing. You can observe this principle in nature. Watch a flock of birds change direction mid-flight. No leader shouts commands. They move as one intelligence. Each individual responds to subtle shifts in the field around it. You too are designed to sense those shifts. Intuition is simply your ability to feel harmony before seeing it. Follow it. It will never lead you astray, for it operates from the same intelligence that spins planets and beats hearts. The more you trust this rhythm, the less you suffer. Suffering is resistance to harmony's tempo. When life slows, you think something is wrong. When life speeds, you panic. Harmony asks you to dance, not dictate. When it slows, rest. When it accelerates, move. When it pauses, listen. You will discover that everything is always on time. To cultivate this trust, keep a journal of order. Each night, write down 3 moments that looked wrong but revealed purpose later. As the list grows, so does faith. Eventually, you will realize that unseen order has never failed you, not once. It was your interpretation, not the event, that caused pain. Harmony was present even in heartbreak, building new architecture behind your tears. The hidden harmony teaches another sacred principle, reciprocity. Whatever you give sincerely returns, multiplied not by moral decree, but by vibrational law. Harmony balances all accounts. If you cheat, you eventually feel cheated. If you bless, you eventually feel blessed. Life keeps perfect books. Give time, patience, honesty, generosity, and the field mirrors it precisely. You cannot outgive harmony. It always finds a way to equalize. This understanding makes forgiveness inevitable. Why hold resentment when the law will handle correction perfectly? Trust the balancing current. Free your heart. The moment you release vengeance, harmony reclaims your energy for creation. Resentment chains you to the old frequency. Forgiveness restores melody. Hill hinted at this when he wrote, "Every person who has attained success has been inspired by harmony of thought with others. Harmonie multiplies power. Discord drains it." This is why envy and competition are illusions of scarcity. When you celebrate another's win, you join their frequency and invite similar victories. When you criticize, you exclude yourself from that vibration. Harmony expands through appreciation. In business, creativity, relationships, the most magnetic individuals are those at ease with the flow. They are unhurried, unthreatened, unconflicted. Their presence relaxes others because it confirms safety in the field. People trust them instinctively. That trust is the fragrance of harmony. It cannot be faked, it must be felt. There will be moments, of course, when harmony hides behind pain. Tragedy will strike, plans will collapse. Even then, the principle remains. Pain is compression before expansion, pruning before bloom. Just as the arrow must be pulled back to fly forward, life sometimes pulls you inward before projection. Do not misread contraction as failure. It is preparation. The rhythm of the universe includes rest beats. Without them, music would be noise. During such seasons, speak this affirmation quietly. Even now, hidden order governs my life. I may not see it, but I feel its wisdom guiding me. Repeat until calm returns. Calm is evidence that alignment has resumed. Harmony also thrives on gratitude. Gratitude tunes the heart to recognize perfection in motion. It transforms complaint into comprehension. When you thank life for what is, you align instantly with what can be. Gratitude turns discord into data. It tells the universe, I am cooperating. And cooperation invites multiplication. To practice gratitude harmonically, do not list objects, feel frequencies. Feel the warmth of shelter, the rhythm of breath, the pulse of life itself. Each feeling is a note. As they merge, they create a chord of thankfulness strong enough to alter reality. That is not sentimentality. It is physics of spirit. The more you live this way, the more life mirrors serenity. People will say you are lucky. You will smile, knowing luck is simply harmony observed by outsiders. Your calm will confuse those still addicted to chaos. They will wonder how you move so surely without rushing, how you wait without worry, act without fear. You will tell them, because I trust the rhythm more than my resistance. When harmony becomes your default, purpose clarifies naturally. You no longer chase calling, you embody it. Decisions become intuitive, not analytical. The mind stops wrestling with endless options because the heart already feels direction. This state is effortless certainty, the reward of consistent alignment. It is what Hill described as the perfect coordination between conscious mind, subconscious mind, and infinite intelligence. In such coordination, you realize that you never truly create alone. You co-compose with the unseen. Ideas arrive when you are quiet enough to hear them. Resources appear when your vibration is clean enough to attract them. Harmony is the invisible partner in every great success story. So let this truth settle deep within you. Everything is connected, everything is responding, everything is right on time. The chaos you fear is only the midpoint of music. Wait for the next measure, it resolves beautifully. When you forget, return to breath. Inhale, expansión. Exhale, release. That is the rhythm of galaxies, of tides, of hearts. To breathe consciously is to participate in universal harmony. And finally, remember, harmony is not achieved, it is remembered. You were born in rhythm with the infinite. Life's noise merely made you forget. Each act of trust, each moment of calm, each choice to forgive brings you closer to that original tempo. When you move again in that rhythm, miracles appear ordinary. You walk through days as though music follows you, yet no instrument plays. That is the soundless symphony of mastery. When one is truly in tune with the infinite, wrote Hill, there can be no such thing as defeat. The hidden harmony was never missing. It was simply waiting for your hearing to mature. Now you hear it. Now you live by it. And life itself begins to move to your beat, because your beat is its own. Every thought you think is a seed cast into invisible soil. Every word, every emotion, every intention, all are currents sent into the field that never forgets. And though time may disguise the return, return it must. Because in a universe governed by law, nothing leaves without echo. Hill once wrote, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Few understood the second half. Whatever the mind believes, it must receive. Belief is not wishful thinking, it is energy invested. And energy, by its nature, circulates. It moves, returns, compounds. It may travel unseen through days or years, but eventually it finds its sender with perfect accuracy. This is the law of returning energy, the silent accountant of the soul. You are living inside a system that mirrors you precisely. Not metaphorically, but mathematically. Everything you project in thought, speech, or action carries a frequency, and that frequency demands completion. When you emit love, love must find a way back to you. When you emit resentment, that too seeks its source. The field does not judge the quality of the current. It merely ensures balance. It cannot help itself. It is law. Think of the universe as a circle rather than a line. What you give out does not vanish. It travels the curve until it meets you again. You are not living on a straight road of random encounters. You are living inside a circle of your own creation. Your world is the echo of your inner tone. The ancient sages called this karma. Hill called it vibration. The scientist calls it frequency feedback. Different languages, same truth. Cause must equal effect. Yet most people live as though energy dissipates into nothing. They think anger released is gone. It is not gone, it is orbiting. It will return when conditions align. That is why the wise guard their inner climate as fiercely as their outer actions. They know that each emotion is a messenger sent ahead of them, preparing future landscapes. To send fear is to build walls. To send faith is to open doors. Every inner reaction is an act of creation in progress. Observe your own history. Have you noticed patterns repeating same challenges, same types of people, same lessons returning in different forms? Those are your energetic signatures returning for resolution. What was sent out unresolved will continue to loop until understood. The universe keeps excellent records. It is determined that you master what you broadcast. When you finally change the signal through awareness, forgiveness, or gratitude, the pattern dissolves instantly. Energy fulfilled does not need to return. Hill hinted at this in his discussion of auto-suggestion. Through repetition of thought, the subconscious mind is influenced, and it influences the universal mind. What he did not say directly is that those repeated thoughts keep building momentum until the universe must respond. The subconscious is a transmitter, the universal mind, a responder. Together they form the circuit of creation. The circuit is closed only when energy returns home. If what you send and what you receive feel misaligned, it means you are not seeing the full circle yet. Patience reveals perfection. The delay between emission and return is not punishment, it is protection time enough for correction. If the universe returned every thought instantly, chaos would reign. Grace exists in the gap. Understanding the law of returning energy changes everything. You stop living reactively and start living responsively. You realize that every response you give to life is a prepayment on your future. How you think about today's obstacles determines the texture of tomorrow's opportunities. Every complaint plants scarcity. Every gratitude plants wealth. Each inner stance issues instructions to creation. So guard your attention. Your attention is currency in a divine economy. Spend it only on what you wish multiplied. The field does not distinguish between prayer and panic. Both are forms of focus. Whichever you repeat becomes real. Think of your thoughts as boomerangs. They travel out, gather momentum, and return faster than they left. Each time they come back, they bring friends, circumstances that match their frequency. This is why worry multiplies worry. It is why gratitude multiplies blessings. It is not superstition. It is simple physics of consciousness. Energy follows emotion. Emotion magnetizes experience. When you learn this, you begin to think with reverence. You become slow to anger, quick to bless. You stop fighting what you dislike and start amplifying what you love. You understand that resistance feeds the very thing resisted. Attention is fertilizer. Whatever you feed grows. So starve fear by ignoring it, nourish faith by honoring it. You cannot destroy darkness by shouting at it. You remove it by turning on light. The law of returning energy is not punitive, it is educational. It teaches responsibility by reflection. When pain returns, it is not revenge, it is revelation. It shows you what you have been unconsciously transmitting. Once seen, you are free to choose again. In this way, even suffering serves the soul. It delivers feedback too precise to ignore. The great mistake is to confuse the mirror for the man. When a reflection displeases you, you do not punch the glass, you adjust the face. Likewise, do not fight reality. Adjust your radiance. When you change your inner tone, outer circumstances must retune. The field is impartial. It simply harmonizes to the loudest signal you sustain. This is why true masters appear serene. They know that agitation broadcasts instability. They protect peace not for comfort but for calibration. Peace ensures the next return will carry beauty. To lose peace is to send chaos forward. Hill's chapter on faith can be read as a treatise on energy return. Faith, he wrote, is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Faith emits the most magnetic current in existence. It tells the field, I already possess it. And the field, ever loyal to belief, echoes back material confirmation. Faith creates closure in the circuit. Doubt leaves it open. An open circuit cannot complete manifestation. If you want to accelerate results, close your circuits consciously. Whenever you desire something, follow it with emotion and gratitude until you feel it complete. Then release it completely, without anxiety. You have now sealed the loop. Return is guaranteed. You do not need to chase, you have already charged the field. Your only task is to stay receptive when it circles back. But receptivity requires worthiness. Many repel their own returns because they secretly believe they do not deserve them. They broadcast yes with words, but no with vibration. When good arrives, they question it, diminish it, or sabotage it. And so, energy obeying honesty returns to neutrality. To receive fully, you must believe yourself worthy fully. Worthiness is not earned, it is remembered. You were born a worthy conductor of divine power. Forgetfulness, not sin, blocks flow. To remember worth is to reopen the circuit. There is another layer to this law collective return. Just as individuals emit energy, so do nations, communities, and groups. A family that constantly speaks fear transmits struggle. Generations later, that vibration becomes culture. A company that builds from integrity transmits trust. Success follows even after its founders are gone. Energy does not expire. It accumulates in fields. To heal a lineage, change the transmission. When one person raises frequency, the entire web shifts slightly upward. The law of return is both personal and planetary. Begin then to send what you wish multiplied for the world. Bless those who envy you. Love those who misunderstand you. Forgive quickly, not as charity, but as strategy. Every grudge is a magnet for repetition. Every blessing is a seed for expansion. You cannot rise while holding weights of judgment. Release, and the upward current carries you effortlessly. This principle also governs wealth. Money, too, is energy in motion. When hoarded from fear, it stagnates. When circulated with purpose, it multiplies. The wealthiest individuals are not necessarily those who take most, they are those who give most without anxiety. Giving proves trust in the law of return. The tight-fisted believe in loss, the generous believe in flow. The field confirms whichever belief dominates. Hill observed this truth in the law of compensation. The amount of service you render determines the amount of reward you receive. But service itself is not the cause, the energy behind it is. When you serve joyfully, the current carries grace. When you serve resentfully, it carries resistance. One expands, the other contracts. The field records vibration, not task. Therefore, make every act, however small, a broadcast of excellence. Sweep floors with pride, write words with presence, speak with sincerity. Each gesture imprints energy that must one day return multiplied. The law of returning energy also governs time. What you invest attention in today determines tomorrow's reality. You are not punished for delay. You are shaped by it. Time is simply the distance between cause and effect, a classroom for awareness. Those who learn the lesson shorten the distance until cause and effect merge. That merging is what mystics call instant manifestation. It is not magic, it is mastery of circulation. The more consistent your vibration, the shorter the lag between emission and return. When your inner and outer worlds mirror perfectly, the delay vanishes. You speak, and it is so. At that level, responsibility is absolute. Every thought becomes seed, every feeling becomes command. That is why humility must grow alongside power. Command without compassion creates imbalance that returns as pain. Creation must serve creation to remain sustainable. The universe corrects misuse not to punish, but to restore symmetry. So how do you apply this law deliberately? Begin each morning with conscious emission. Before engaging the world, decide what you will send into it. Say quietly, "Today I radiate clarity, gratitude, and strength." Feel it. Then move through your day as if those qualities were contagious, because they are. Every person you meet will feel the broadcast even if they cannot name it. And before you sleep, close the circuit. Review your day. Recall the moments of joy. Forgive the moments of friction. End with the affirmation, "All energy I have sent returns purified and multiplied for the highest good." That statement alone can change the course of your destiny. In time, you will see evidence everywhere. Random kindness returned as opportunity, words spoken gently returning as respect, love given silently returning as health. Everything cycles back, always improved, always precise. You will begin to live not by effort, but by circulation. You will stop trying to push outcomes and start letting outcomes orbit back. And when misfortune visits, as it sometimes will, you will no longer panic. You will say, "This is energy finding its balance." You will meet it with acceptance, transmute it with gratitude, and thus send it forward purified. In this way, even difficulty becomes investment. The soul that understands this never feels victimized again. It sees every event as return, every moment as message. You may wonder, does the law ever rest? Never. Even sleep is exchange giving rest to receive renewal. Breath itself is proof. Inhale, exhale, return. Every rhythm in nature mimics this sacred reciprocity. The tide that leaves must come back. The sun that sets must rise. The word that leaves your lips must echo. All motion is circular, not linear. That circle is the seal of the divine. So live as though every gesture will meet you again because it will. Think as though every thought will reappear because it must. Speak as though the walls have memory because they do. When you do, integrity ceases to be morality, it becomes mathematics. It is no longer about being good, it is about being accurate. Accuracy with energy is enlightenment. Eventually you realize there is no other. Everyone you bless is another version of yourself returning later. Everyone you harm is a mirror you must one day face. Seeing this, judgment ends. Compassion begins, and compassion keeps the current clear. The law of returning energy is not just the secret of success, it is the heartbeat of the universe. It governs relationships, wealth, health, destiny. To master it is to enter partnership with the infinite accountant who never errs. To ignore it is to live in overdraft, wondering why outcomes never balance. But you know now, you are no longer a borrower of luck, but a builder of law. Every thought you send henceforth becomes investment. Every act, every emotion, every silent wish, a deposit in the cosmic ledger. And when returns begin arriving in forms beyond prediction, you will smile in recognition. For it was you who sent them. It was always you. The man who does more than he is paid for, wrote Hill, will soon be paid for more than he does. The universe pays with interest, not only in money, but in peace, opportunity, and grace. Return is inevitable. The only question is, what are you sending? There comes a point on this journey where knowledge is no longer enough. You have read, you have reflected, you have believed. But the universe does not honor philosophy, it honors practice. It listens not to what you know, but to what you embody. An embodiment is the bridge between imagination and incarnation. This is the chapter where belief must wear boots, where truth leaves the page and walks into your day. Hill warned that action is the real measure of intelligence. For all the meditation, affirmation, and vision boards in the world, nothing changes until movement begins. But movement without inner alignment is noise. Application begins when inner certainty meets outer discipline. It is the point at which invisible command becomes visible proof. Knowledge alone is potential energy, like electricity trapped in a wire. Application is the switch that releases current. The law you learned in silence now demands demonstration in the world of form. Faith must graduate into fact through repetition, through habit, through courage, practiced in real time. Every principle you have studied so far, command, transmission, harmony, return, awaits confirmation through you. The universe asks only one question: will you live what you claim to know? The answer is not given by mouth. It is given by pattern. The man who truly knows a law cannot help but act by it. If you understand gravity, you do not test it daily. You live by it instinctively. The same must be true of spiritual law. To still speak of faith while living in fear is to reveal that you only memorized, not mastered. Application converts idea into instinct. Every sunrise offers the laboratory. When you wake, your first thought sets tone. Your first act proves alignment. If your mind rushes to complaint, you have forgotten. If it moves to gratitude, the proof has begun. Morning is not a ritual of routine, but rehearsal for dominion. Each day is a test of vibration. Consistency: can you hold faith in motion, not just in meditation? Hill said action is the real measure of belief. To believe truly is to behave accordingly. You cannot proclaim abundance while hoarding from fear, or speak of peace while feeding argument. Life does not listen to words. It observes rhythm. Your daily rhythm declares your real creed. So let us begin where all transformation becomes tangible: habit. The unseen mind is translated into visible pattern through repetition. Whatever you repeat, you ritualize. Whatever you ritualize, you realize. Discipline, then, is not punishment, it is proof of devotion. It is how you convince the universe that you are serious. Set one sacred routine each day. It need not be grand. Perhaps a morning of stillness before the phone, or 10 quiet minutes before sleep, to rewrite your day in gratitude. The consistency of small acts is more magnetic than the intensity of rare ones. The universe rewards rhythm, not drama. Faith expressed in daily steadiness is more powerful than passion that burns once and disappears. The proof of application also lives in speech. Your vocabulary must evolve to match your vision. If you speak problems fluently but goals reluctantly, your mouth has not yet learned your mission. Train it. Replace complaint with command. Instead of saying, "I'm trying," say, "I'm training." Instead of "I hope," say, "I expect." Hope pleads, expectation directs. Language is living proof of belief. Likewise, emotion is evidence. When you face challenge, observe your automatic reaction, that is your report card. Fear reveals theory, calm reveals practice. The purpose of difficulty is not destruction, but demonstration. It arrives to measure whether you trust the law when pressure mounts. You prayed for proof. Adversity brings the stage. When the world shakes you, remember, steel is not forged in softness. It is the friction of heat and hammer that transforms metal into weapon. Likewise, faith untested remains fragile. Every obstacle is an examination of vibration. If you meet it with doubt, you repeat the lesson. If you meet it with certainty, you graduate. The universe promotes only through performance. To live the law is to become a living broadcast. Your results become sermons. Your peace becomes your credential. People no longer ask what you believe. They feel it in your stability. That stability cannot be faked. It comes from one thing only: daily application. Hill observed that most people stop 3 feet from gold. They begin well but abandon the process when results delay. Why? Because they sought evidence before embodiment. But proof follows perseverance. Application must survive the silence between seed and sprout. Those who persist in rhythm while nothing seems to happen are those for whom everything eventually happens at once. Think of the farmer again. He does not dig up the seed to check progress. He waters faithfully. He knows unseen roots are working. That is applied faith, the only faith that counts. To act as if it's working while nothing appears is the highest mastery of manifestation. It is the moment the invisible begins to trust you. To apply these principles, begin with one law: cause before effect. Ask yourself before every choice, am I acting from alignment or from anxiety? Alignment actions feel calm, certain, almost effortless. Anxiety actions feel rushed, forced, uncertain. When in doubt, pause until peace returns. Peace is permission to proceed. Anxiety is a red light from the soul. Obey the lights. They exist to keep rhythm safe. Application also demands embodiment in body. Your posture, breath, and movement are instruments of faith. Walk as though success were inevitable. Breathe as though abundance were oxygen. This is not arrogance, it is attunement. When the body mirrors conviction, energy completes its circuit. If your shoulders slump, you silently declare defeat. If you stand tall, you broadcast confidence. Hill said, "You can't control many things, but you can always control attitude." Attitude is the architecture of energy in motion. Every great inventor, artist, leader applied before they understood fully. Understanding grows from engagement, not hesitation. Do not wait for perfect clarity. Clarity grows in movement. The mind refines the plan as the feet walk the path. The law cannot steer what does not move. Fear often hides behind perfectionism. You delay applying truth because you fear imperfection. But perfection is a horizon, it moves as you move. Start where you are. The first act, however small, breaks inertia and announces intention. Once the field detects motion, it supplies momentum. You have heard Hill's principle. Do the thing, and you shall have the power. Power never precedes doing, it follows it. Application is also consistency in emotion. You must maintain the same vibration after failure as you do after success. The master treats both as feedback, not verdict. He asks not, "Why did this happen?" but "What is this teaching my frequency?" Each setback is a rehearsal for stability. Each victory is confirmation of calibration. Both are necessary steps in mastery. Proof is not found in results. It is found in response. When storms come, your reaction reveals how deeply you have integrated truth. Do you return to peace quickly or drown in panic? That speed of recovery is your spiritual fitness score. Fast recovery equals solid application. Slow recovery means further training required, not punishment, just process. And remember this, application is personal but never private. Every choice you make ripples through the field. Your discipline silently strengthens others. When you hold faith under fire, someone else watching learns what is possible. You become demonstration for unseen students. That too is proof. The universe uses examples more than explanations. Be the example. Live so fully in principle that others feel it in your presence before hearing it in your words. That vibration will teach more than lectures ever could. Still, the mind will ask, how long must I apply before I see results? And the law replies, until application becomes identity. When what you do is no longer effort but nature, manifestation becomes automatic. You no longer practice the law. You are the law in motion. That is the final proof. To reach that state, cultivate the rhythm of accountability. Each night, review your day gently. Where did I act from fear? Where did I act from faith? No judgment, only awareness. Awareness itself corrects trajectory. Celebrate progress, however small. Progress, not perfection, is the heartbeat of mastery. When doubt visits, as it surely will, return to gratitude. Gratitude is the bridge between lapse and renewal. It reminds you that the law still functions even when you forget it. Thank the law for consistency, then step back into practice. The universe forgives instantly. It waits only for your return to rhythm. Application also requires community. Associate with those who live principles, not those who debate them. Energy is contagious. Choose companions who amplify certainty, not those who drain it. Hill called it the mastermind principle, the harmony of two or more minds in coordination. Application multiplies under shared focus. To walk with believers is to borrow their momentum until yours is stable. Seek environments where faith feels normal, where growth is the language. There, application becomes natural. As practice matures, something remarkable happens. Effort dissolves into flow. You stop trying to remember the law. You start becoming it. Work feels lighter, decisions clearer, coincidences constant. The line between prayer and action blurs. You speak, move, and breathe in rhythm with creation itself. That is not fantasy. It is the inevitable result of persistent alignment. At that stage, results chase you. Opportunities sense your readiness and arrive unsummoned. The proof of application is not applause or wealth, it is peace. Peace that does not depend on outcome, because outcome now always reflects inner order. Peace is the signature of mastery. To sustain it, maintain humility. The ego will tempt you to claim ownership of success, but remember, you applied the law. You did not invent it. The power flows through you, not from you. Stay grateful to the source that obeys your faith. Pride interrupts the current. Gratitude keeps it clear. So, each morning, renew the vow. Today I live what I know. Not someday, not soon today. Application is always present tense. Future promise create delay. Present action creates evidence. The universe is a now machine. It operates only on current frequency. Align now, act now, and watch proof arrive now. At the close of each day, whisper the review. I have applied what I've been shown, and the law responds faithfully. Sleep in that assurance. Your subconscious will continue the work while you rest. It is always listening, always building, always applying your last conviction. Eventually, you will realize something profound. You no longer seek proof. You have become it. Your life stands as demonstration that the unseen governs the seen, that faith embodied bends reality. People will call it luck, timing, or genius. You will call it obedience to principle, because you now know success is not achieved. It is allowed through consistent application. So rise tomorrow, not to chase miracles, but to continue mastery. Do the simple things well, with presence, with calm certainty. Speak truth, think order, act integrity. That is the trinity of application. Word, thought, deed, all aligned. When they move together, the field applauds with results. And when others ask for your secret, smile gently and say, "There is no secret, only practice." Faith without works is dead, said the old scripture. Hill translated it, knowledge that is not applied is wasted. The proof of the law is the life of the believer. Live it openly. Live it daily. Live it until doing and being are the same. Then you will understand why the masters move quietly, why their peace feels royal. They are not waiting for proof. They are walking proof. Every revelation carries a responsibility. Each law you've learned, thought, vibration, harmony, command, return, is power. And power, in the hands of an undisciplined mind, becomes destruction disguised as desire. That is why the ancients never gave sacred knowledge to the unready. That is why Hill wrote, "The majority of men never discover the secret, not because it is hidden from them, but because they are not prepared to use it wisely." This is the moment of warning, the point where knowledge demands integrity. The universe is not sentimental. It obeys whoever commands it most consistently. If you project fear with conviction, it will serve fear. If you project love with the same conviction, it will serve love. The law plays no favorites. It mirrors tone, not intention. The choice, therefore, is not whether the law works, it always does. The choice is what you choose to make it work for. Every mind becomes either builder or destroyer. Every thought either heals or harms. Every word either lifts or lowers. You do not get to opt out of creation. You only get to choose what kind you create. That is the divine warning. Many who stumble upon power use it for smallness, manipulation, vanity, control. They mistake manifestation for mastery. They command without conscience and wonder why their kingdoms collapse. Because energy without ethics corrodes its own source. When you use spiritual law to feed ego, you dig your own energetic grave. The law will still work, but its returns will remind you that imbalance cannot last. Hill hinted at this when he wrote, "Power will bring either success or destruction, according to the purpose to which it is applied." Purpose is the compass that decides whether power ascends or implodes. When aligned with service, power multiplies gracefully. When fueled by greed or domination, it consumes its holder. The warning, therefore, is simple. Be mindful of what drives your desire. If your vision requires someone else to lose, it is unworthy of your energy. If your dream harms, humiliates, or exploits, it is not creation, it is corruption. And the law, perfect in justice, will return that corruption multiplied, not as punishment, but as education. The universe is a mirror so flawless it exposes your motives in 4 Kelvin's clarity. If you act from love, your reflection glows. If you act from fear, the mirror cracks. Every act of ego creates distortion. Every act of truth restores alignment. This is the architecture of karma, not mystical retribution, but mechanical correction. And so you are given the same power that built galaxies, the ability to command reality. But you must decide whether to wield it as creator or consumer. That decision, made daily, shapes everything that follows. The warning is not to fear power, but to respect it. Electricity is dangerous only to those who misuse it. So is thought. If you wire your mind with negativity, it shocks you with the same current you sent out. If you wire it with gratitude, the same current lights your world. Energy itself is neutral. Consciousness gives it character. There is also a subtler warning. Do not let power make you careless. When results start coming easily, when people listen, opportunities flow, doors open, the ego whispers, "I did this," it tempts you to claim authorship. The moment you do, disconnection begins. Ego is static in the frequency of flow. It blocks inspiration and replaces harmony with hustle. Soon, what once came effortlessly now requires struggle. You start forcing outcomes instead of allowing them. That is the first symptom of forgetting the source. The cure is humility, not weakness, but alignment. Humility says, "I am the channel, not the current. Power flows through me because I remain clean enough to conduct it." That posture keeps you grounded in grace. There is also the warning of attachment. The more you master creation, the more tempting it becomes to use the law for vanity to manifest symbols of success rather than substance of purpose. There's nothing wrong with wealth, comfort, or luxury. They are expressions of creative flow. But when they become your master, they drain the very energy that brought them. Attachment turns blessing into burden. You begin guarding what was meant to circulate, and energy hoarded stagnates always. Hill cautioned, if riches are used wrongly, they become a curse. Riches used rightly become service disguised as abundance. The difference is motive. Ask yourself daily, am I using the law to get or to grow? Getting focuses on possession. Growing focuses on expression. The law favors the latter because growth serves the whole. There is also danger in arrogance of intellect, thinking that understanding the law is the same as mastering it. Knowledge makes you clever. Only experience makes you wise. There are many who can quote every verse of success literature, yet live in quiet failure because they do not feel what they know. They have the vocabulary of mastery, but not the vibration of it. Beware of that illusion. You can hide ignorance behind words, but you cannot fake frequency. True mastery is silent. It doesn't need to prove. It doesn't need to preach. Its results speak louder than its rhetoric. The one who truly understands the law uses it quietly, gently, invisibly, without show, without superiority. Because the moment you weaponize wisdom for applause, you have turned heaven into performance. And yet, even with warning, temptation will come. Temptation to manipulate outcomes rather than trust timing. Temptation to measure worth by comparison. Temptation to use influence to elevate ego instead of inspire others. When that moment arrives, and it will pause, remember the principle. Every command you give the universe, you give yourself. To control others is to lose control of self. To harm another is to send harm on credit. To bless another is to multiply your own grace. Choice is eternal, consequence is immediate. This chapter is your mirror. Ask yourself, what am I commanding most often? Do my thoughts uplift or accuse? Do my words heal or divide? Do my emotions signal faith or fear? Because each signal you emit circles back through time and space to greet you as circumstance. You cannot escape your own frequency. You can only refine it. That is the core of moral law in a mechanical universe. Not divine punishment, but divine precision. You are both judge and jury, cause and effect, sender and receiver. No external force decrees your fate, your vibration does. And vibration is always a choice. Hill often said, "You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul." Few grasped how literal that statement was. Captaincy implies command, but also accountability. The captain cannot blame the sea for storms he sailed into. He studies the currents, adjusts his compass, and steers accordingly. Likewise, you must take full responsibility for the conditions you create. No excuses, no blame, only correction. Correction is creation refined. And here lies the second half of the chapter, the choice. You stand now between two worlds, reaction and creation. Reaction is unconscious use of law. Creation is deliberate partnership with it. Reaction builds empires of fear. Creation builds empires of purpose. Both are powered by the same energy. The difference is awareness. So, what will you choose? Will you remain asleep, sending commands by accident through doubt, resentment, gossip, complaint, and then calling the consequences bad luck? Or will you awaken and issue deliberate decrees of love, faith, harmony, and gratitude, building a world that mirrors your inner mastery? The law will serve either path with equal obedience. The universe has no opinion, only accuracy. You are the meaning maker. The choice, once understood, becomes sacred. Every thought becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of destiny. Every emotion becomes color. Every word becomes signature. You can paint nightmare or masterpiece both. Use the same tools. And the moment you take ownership of this choice, your life stops being random. You begin to see continuity between inner cause and outer event. You understand why certain people appear, why certain challenges persist, why certain blessings arrive unannounced. All are returns from choices, conscious or unconscious. To choose consciously is to ascend from human to creator. But even creators must remain students. The choice to learn never ends. Each level of manifestation reveals subtler lessons. At first, you learn to control thought. Then, you learn to purify motive. Then, you learn to surrender control altogether, not in defeat, but in trust. You evolve from commander to co-creator. In co-creation, the will of the individual aligns so deeply with the will of the infinite that they become one vibration. That is the state of mastery beyond mastery, effortless cooperation with divine rhythm. Yet the warning remains. Forget this alignment, and fall begins immediately. Every time you drift into fear, greed, or self-glory, your signal distorts and correction must come. Correction may look like crisis, but it is grace in disguise. The universe disciplines only to recalibrate. Do not resent the lesson, thank it. It means the law still loves you enough to realign you. From this point forward, awareness is your guardian. You will feel the moment you slip, your peace will tremble. Take that trembling as an alarm, not punishment. Pause, breathe, whisper, I choose alignment again. That one statement restores authority instantly. The field responds the moment you correct vibration. Forgiveness, you will discover, is not moral mercy, it is vibrational reset. So choose deliberately. Choose daily. Choose to be the cause, not the consequence. Choose to speak faith, even when fear shouts. Choose gratitude, even when lack whispers. Choose silence over gossip, compassion over judgment, order over chaos. Each choice sends instruction to creation. And creation, loyal as ever, will obey. Do not fear the responsibility, celebrate it. The same law that can destroy also delivers salvation. The same energy that punishes error rewards awareness. There is no devil but distortion, no hell but resistance, no heaven but harmony. Heaven and hell are not places, they are vibrations you choose moment by moment. This is what Hill meant when he said, both success and failure are the result of habits, repeated acts of thought. He was not moralizing, he was describing mechanism. Habits are repeated vibrations. Repeat harmony and you build heaven. Repeat dissonance and you build hell. Either way, the law fulfills your faith. The wise choose responsibility joyfully. They understand that the universe's greatest gift is free will, the ability to choose alignment at any moment. No past mistake can chain you. The law has no memory, only measurement. The instant you change signal, you change destiny. That is divine mercy in mathematical form. And so the warning transforms into invitation. This is not a threat, but a threshold. You have been entrusted with the creative code of reality itself. How you use it will determine whether your life becomes cautionary tale or masterpiece. You cannot unlearn what you now know. From this moment on, ignorance is no longer an excuse, it is a decision. Choose awareness. Choose alignment. Choose mastery. Each choice returns multiplied, shaping the world that once shaped you. When you command with love, transmit with clarity, and harmonize with truth, the law bows to your certainty. When you misuse it, it bends you back toward humility. Both paths lead home, one gently, the other through fire. The direction is yours to determine. The destination is always the same, awakening. If you misuse power, it will destroy you, Hill warned. But used rightly, it can lift you to the heights of achievement that no man has ever known. The warning is wisdom. The choice is freedom. Together, they form the final test of your becoming. Now the universe watches quietly, waiting for your next thought. And as it listens, it whispers the same timeless question. What will you choose to create? And so after all the searching, striving, falling, and rising, after every question, every silence, every test, a man arrives at the place he thought he was trying to reach, only to discover he was there all along. This is the great revelation. The seeker and the source were never separate. Every law you studied, thought, faith, harmony, command, return, was never outside you. It was your own mind describing itself through symbols. It was life holding up a mirror, whispering, "You are the cause you've been looking for." Hill called it infinite intelligence. Others call it God, source, spirit, consciousness. But names are shadows. Essence is light. And the essence is this. The power that builds worlds resides in human awareness, not metaphorically, literally. When you think, the universe feels it. When you feel, the universe shapes it. When you act, the universe finalizes it. You are not merely a participant in creation, you are creation remembering itself. All your struggles were lessons in authorship. Every obstacle that made you doubt was actually initiation proof that the student was being trusted with the responsibility of creator. Every delay that made you impatient was divine calibration, teaching rhythm. Every heartbreak was purification, carving space for greater command. You were never being punished, only prepared. The revelation does not come in lightning. It comes quietly, in the stillness after exhaustion, when there is nothing left to chase. You sit in silence and feel something sacred, peace that requires no reason. That peace is your true self, the architect behind the architecture. At first, you call it calm. Later, you recognize it as command without words. It is the silent knowing that life is responding perfectly to your vibration. That what you need will appear when needed, not before, not after. That there is no race left to run, because the finish line was within. Hill wrote, "When faith becomes a living thing, it transforms the mind into a magnet for all that it desires. The revelation extends that truth. When faith becomes identity, you stop desiring altogether because everything already feels inevitable. Desire turns into direction. Direction turns into destiny. You stop chasing creation and start conducting it. The real secret was never about attracting wealth, power, or fame. Those were beginners' tools, carrots for consciousness. The deeper secret is self-realization. When you realize the source of creation operates through you, you stop asking how. You become the how. Your thoughts stop begging reality. They start organizing it. Your heart stops waiting for miracles. It becomes the generator of them. The masters of old knew this. They walked the earth in quiet authority, not because they owned it, but because they recognized themselves as extensions of it. They spoke to storms, to sickness, to circumstance, and they obeyed. Not through superstition, but through synchronization. Their vibration and creation were identical frequencies. Now you understand why Hill wrote of the mastermind, the blending of human intellect with infinite intelligence. It was never about teamwork, it was about oneness. When you align your conscious thought, subconscious emotion, and divine intelligence, the Trinity completes. You become unstoppable because you stop separating yourself from the force that fuels you. You are no longer asking for the current, you are becoming it. This revelation also dissolves fear. Fear survives only in separation. When you believe life is out there, unpredictable and indifferent, fear thrives. But when you know life moves through you, fear loses ground. You stop defending yourself against outcomes because you are the author of them. You stop doubting tomorrow because you are programming tomorrow right now. Fear cannot live in awareness of authorship, and so confidence ceases to be arrogance. It becomes reverence, the calm respect for the power you hold and the wisdom to wield it well. That reverence is faith matured. It is the steady understanding that every word you speak, every feeling you cultivate, every vision you entertain writes reality in light. You no longer pray from distance, you pray from union. You no longer beg for favor, you broadcast gratitude. Your relationship with God, Source, Universe, whatever name you choose, becomes partnership, not petition. You move as though the infinite has entrusted you with its pen, and all of creation waits to see what you will write next. And yet, humility deepens. For as you awaken to this power, you also awaken to the responsibility that comes with it. You see that every careless thought pollutes the collective field, every loving thought heals it. You understand that mastery is not measured by control over others, but by harmony within yourself. You stop seeking validation from the outer world because you recognize the outer world is you, projected in form. This realization frees you from blame of others and of self. You can no longer resent anyone because you see everyone as a mirror showing you your own unfinished frequencies. You can no longer hate because hatred would be self-directed. You can no longer envy because what you admire in another is proof of what exists in you. You walk the earth lighter, softer, yet infinitely more powerful. The revelation reshapes your idea of success. Wealth becomes the natural byproduct of alignment, not the measure of it. You no longer chase millions, you attract moments. Peace becomes your currency. Presence becomes your profit. And paradoxically, material abundance follows without effort because flow has replaced force. The same energy once spent on fear, comparison, and hurry now fuels creation, clarity, and compassion. You begin to see service not as duty but as design. Each time you lift another, you lift the whole. The universe smiles through you because you have stopped obstructing its current. Hill once wrote, "The man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does." That is not merely a business maxim, it is spiritual mathematics. When you overgive in frequency, life overpays in form. Generosity becomes expansion, not depletion. Because energy given from overflow multiplies. Energy given from emptiness subtracts. Now you give because it feels natural to circulate what was never yours to keep. As awareness matures, a deeper calm replaces ambition. You no longer wake up driven. You wake up directed. You do not chase purpose. You flow in it. You understand that even your dreams were not random, they were instructions placed by the infinite within you, guiding your evolution. Following them is not vanity, it is obedience to design. The revelation then is not a peak moment of fireworks. It is the gradual sunrise of recognition. It begins when you realize that everything, every pain, every triumph, every silence was sacred choreography. That the law never failed you once, you simply didn't yet know how to read its language. And now you do. Look back. Every heartbreak trained your compassion. Every failure refined your focus. Every detour redirected your destiny. You thought life was delaying you. It was developing you. You thought it was testing you. It was tuning you. Each loss was preparation for larger reception. The field was never against you. It was protecting precision. When that truth lands, gratitude floods in, not for the blessings alone, but for the bruises. You start to thank the very moments that once broke you, because you see how they sculpted your strength. You thank the people who left, because their absence forced your independence. You thank the closed doors, because they redirected your aim toward the right gates. You realize that the universe was faithful even when you were not. That revelation alone changes everything. You no longer need signs, your peace is the sign. You no longer need predictions, your presence is the prophecy. You no longer need permission, creation already gave it to you by giving you breath. When Hill wrote, "When you are ready, you will attract the right circumstances," he was describing the moment of alignment you now live in. Readiness is no longer preparation, it is recognition. You realize you have always been ready. Only fear delayed acknowledgement. And now fear has dissolved in the light of truth. This final awakening comes with one last understanding. You cannot fail. Failure was a misunderstanding of timing. Loss was a misreading of rhythm. Everything that ever happened happened for correction, not condemnation. The law corrects endlessly, guiding you home to yourself. And when you finally surrender to that guidance, resistance ends and heaven begins here, now. At this stage, manifestation becomes natural. You think of peace, and peace surrounds you. You think of abundance, and doors open effortlessly, but you no longer chase those effects, they chase you, because you have become the cause. This is the secret Hill could only hint at, that the treasure you sought in books, lectures, and teachers was buried in your own consciousness. You were reading your reflection all along. The lost chapter was not in Think and Grow Rich. It was in the space between your thoughts, in the silence where infinite intelligence speaks without sound. Now you hear it, not as a voice from above, but as a resonance within. It guides gently, never loudly. It does not command with fear, it moves with peace. Follow that peace, and you will never be lost again. For the awakened, prayer changes form. It becomes less, give me, and more, thank you. Less asking, more alignment. Less words, more knowing. You begin every day not by begging for blessings, but by broadcasting certainty. Everything that belongs to me by divine right flows to me in perfect time, and it does. The final revelation is simplicity itself, a sentence that erases centuries of confusion. You are not separate from the source you seek. You are the breath of that source, clothed in temporary form, rediscovering itself through experience. To know this is liberation. To live this is enlightenment. And so the seeker rests, not in idleness, but in inspiration. He no longer runs after destiny. He walks with it. Every step feels orchestrated, every hour meaningful. He looks around and realizes the ordinary is the miracle. The sunrise, the conversation, the breath, all holy. Nothing is wasted because nothing is outside the field of creation. This is where the journey ends and begins again in awareness that never closes. You no longer read Hill's words as philosophy, you feel them as memory. You understand now that every quote, every principle, every law was an echo of your own soul calling you home. And now that you are home, you realize something exquisite. You were never chasing wealth, love, peace, or power, you were chasing yourself. And in finding yourself, you have found them all. The great secret of life, Hill wrote, is not to chase success, but to become success in consciousness first. You have become it. Not through effort, but through remembrance. Not through accumulation, but through awakening. Now, when you walk into the world feels it. Rooms grow calm. People sense order. Even time seems to pause in your presence because you carry eternity within. This is mastery without movement, creation without command, abundance without demand. This is the frequency of fulfillment. The journey ends where it began in silence. The same silence that spoke at the start now surrounds you again, but it is no longer empty. It hums with divine recognition. You close your eyes, breathe once, and whisper the final truth. I am the law I was searching for. And in that whisper, the circle completes. The seeker disappears. Only the source remains awake, aware, and infinite.